I hope you have understood what is inheritance, what are the types of the inheritance, and example and all, using assisting of the parent class properties with the help of these and super keyword and all. Now it's time for another building block of the OOPS concept, that is polymorphism. There are four building blocks of OOPS concept, that is inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and encapsulation. So this is the second building block, that is polymorphism. Now, what are polymorphism in Java? Now, polymorphism is a Greek word, which stands for poly means many and morphism means forms. Now, everyone is saying as just polymorphism means poly means many and morphism means forms. So it's not making any sense. So we have to understand in deeply. So, so in a layman term, it can be defined as one person with different behavior. One person with different behavior. For example, if I give an example for me, I'm just giving the example of example to understand this polymorphism concept in Java. So if I give an example for me, one person with different behavior. So my behavior in front of this video will be different, and my behavior when I'm in my home will be different, and my behavior when I'm in the classroom will be different, and when I'm my behavior when I'm in my office will be different. So I'm one person. The person is same but with different behavior. And different behavior when I'm in front of the camera, then different behavior when I'm in the class, different behavior when I'm in the home, different behavior when I'm in the office. So this concept, one person with different behavior, just remember it, one person with different behavior is called a polymorphism. Poly means many forms, many. Poly means many, forms means, morphism means forms. So one person with many behavior is called polymorphism in Java, and it can be also defined as the ability to appear in many forms. So if I have given an example of me, so I have the ability to appear in many forms, like one behavior in front of the video, one behavior in a class, in an office. So different behavior. The ability to appear in many forms is called polymorphism in Java, and it can be also defined as one thing in many forms is called polymorphism. So I hope you have understood the concept of what is meant by this polymorphism. Okay, poly means many and morphism is forms, many forms in simple term. And polymorphism is a geek word. So this is just a theoretical knowledge, and the thing that you have to know is the concept. Polymorphism means you have to relate this real world example of one person showing different behaviors in many forms. Now it's time for another thing, another concept, that is two types of polymorphism. Now there are two types of polymorphism. What are they? Is compile time polymorphism or static binding or early binding. There are two types of polymorphism in Java. They are, number one is compile time polymorphism or static binding or early binding, and this is overcome by method overloading concept. Okay. So when we are discussing this polymorphism, we will be covering the overloading and the overwriting concept. Okay. The number two is runtime polymorphism. Then type two is runtime polymorphism or dynamic binding or the late binding. So runtime polymorphism will be achieved by a method overriding concept. So this method overloading and overriding actually should be covered in the method, but so that to understand better this polymorphism, I just neglect in the method, and I just wanted to uh, give this concept of method overriding and method overloading and method overriding in this OOPS concept is just polymorphism. So this is not. So people are making very tough when they are understanding this polymorphism. Just you have to make it simple that it's just one person with many behavior, or the ability to show in many forms is called polymorphism. Just define this way. Okay? And you have to remember these two types of polymorphism, that is compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. Now, the first type, let's discuss the first type of polymorphism. So that is compile time polymorphism. It it is now compile time polymorphism is of the concept with the overloading. Now types of overloading. Now what are these overloading and all? Let me cover this. Okay, method overloading. The types of overloading are method overloading. Methods can be also overloaded. Then constructor overloading. Constructor can be also overloaded. Then operator overloading. Operator, there is one operator which supports the overloading concept in Java. So let me discuss one by one. So first things first, let's discuss this method overloading. This overriding, let's just method overloading. Let me just first do it with this method overloading. Okay. Now, how we do method overloading? I'm just going to show it here. Let's say we have. Let's say we have. Let's say we have class A. Then inside this class we have number of methods. Let's say we have void m1. Okay. Void m1. Let's say this void m1 is accepting one argument. Let's say int a. Int a. Then we have another method. Let's say we have three methods here. Let's see this method m1, and we have two parameters here, int b, and let's say this as method m1 here ch. So overloading. This example is to understand the overloading concept. Overloading concept in Java. Now from this example, so we can see that here we have three methods: void m1, void m1, void m1. Three methods, but we have seen the difference here. So method m1 is accepting one argument, one parameter. Then method m2 is accepting two parameters, and third method, that is m1 method, is having one parameter but of different data type. Now it's time for definition of the overloading. Now what is overloading? So if you're in the interview or in any exams, if you're asked to define the overloading, so we just define as that if the class contains more than one method. So if the class contains more than one method with the same name, if the class contains more than one method, two or more method, more than one method with the same name, here we have m1, m1, m1. If the class contains more than one methods with the same name but different number of parameters, here we have different number of parameters. So this is a one parameter, two parameter. So in the class, one or more methods with the same name but different parameter, or same number of parameter but of different data type, then this is called method overloading. Okay, so here same one argument, number of parameters is same but different data type. So if you are declaring methods this way, same method name with different parameter or different data types, is called method overloading. So this is the method overloading concept. Let me just show it. Method overloading is here. So this is what I'm trying to say. So this is the, let's say we have method m1 and method m1. just copy this, and this will make more sense than this. So here we have two methods. I mean, we have four methods in this class test. We have method M1, M1. So method M1, M1 is name is same, and we have different parameter. And here method M2, same number of parameter but different data type. So therefore, this second method is called overloaded method. Two methods with the same name with different number of parameter. And here overloaded method, two method with same number of parameter, but of different data type. This is integer type and this is character type. So this is the definition that you have to understand, that overloading. So you should not to make things very complicated with this. What is overloading, overriding, and overloading is very tough. So just you have to make it simple that if the class contains more than one method with the same name but different name, number of parameter, or same number of parameter and different data type, is called method overloading. So if you understand this example, then you will be able to define this method overloading. Okay. Now, let me show the example here. So regarding this method overloading, okay. So we are on method overloading. Just copy this example and explain this example. So let's say we are here to discuss on the method overloading. So let's say we have class test and this is method overloading. So we have void m1 in A, and we are trying to print something here. So why we are when we are going to use this method overloading concept and overriding concept, I'm going to explain you the real world example with the practical implementation of this overloading concept. Okay, after this example. So for now, just know that how overloading and all works here. So this method overloading. So we have method m1 with one parameter int a, and we have one statement here int m1 method, and we have void m1 with two parameters int a and int b, and with one statement, and we have void m1 method m1 and with a different data type. So you might be thinking this same number of parameter. Here also one parameter, here also one parameter, but different data type. So different data type is important. You have to know that because of different data types, it will be compiler will be reading this as a different statement. Okay. So this is how we are overloading the method. So we have same method names, three method names same, but we have different parameter and different data type. So execution of the program starts from here. This is how we are creating the object. Then we are calling these methods. T.m1. So let's try to execute. Compile successfully. Now we have this is a test class. Yeah, test class. So we are able to print successfully this overloading methods int m1, int m1 method, and char m1 method. So I have told you that two types of polymorphism, and compile time polymorphism is covered with the concept of method overloading. Why this method overloading is called as compile time polymorphism is because if we look at here, here I have given a note, since these methods are mapped during the compile time. So calling of this method, so here we have three methods, and the mapping of these methods are already done in the compilation time. So when the compiler is compiling this program, so mapping is already done during the compilation time. So that's why it is calling as compile time polymorphism. This overloading concept is known as compile time polymorphism because mapping is uh, this, and this method mapping is done during the compilation time. That's why it's a compile time polymorphism. So method overloading is the compile time polymorphism. Now, now uh, it's time for a real-time example of where this method overloading will be used. Okay, so here we can see that this functionality, method M1, method M1, this is also method M1, three methods with the same method name. The functionality is same, but we can see that if we look at this output, we can see that this output is different, this output is different, and this output is different. Here, the functionality is same, that is M1 method, but they have a different behavior. So they are able to print different things. So therefore, if you give an real-time example, so let's say that, so it's with this method overloading. So the real-time example of this method overloading in practical and in project level, where you will need this method overloading concept is that, let's say you are trying to register for a Java certification course. So you are using a system, or maybe you are building a system to register um, for a Java certification course. Okay. Now register is a function, is a method. Register is a method, but when you are trying to register on this Java certification course, you will be able to do with the help of your CID card, CID number, or maybe you can give an input as your phone number, or you may be using email to register. So all these parameters, the different ID proofs will be accepted by the functionality. So this actually where the method overloading will be using in the practical. So for instance, another example, real world example is, so every system you are using is with this overloading concept and all. So Facebook, so let's say you are trying to log into the Facebook, you will be able to log into the Facebook with the help of your phone number. So you can also able to log into your Facebook with the help of this email ID. So this how the function is same, that is login or register. So you are just giving in different parameters. So this actual implementation of this method overloading in the real world example. So method overloading. So this is the real world implementation. Okay. Now, and that's all with the method overloading and the constructor overloading, the similar concept of that of the method overloading. So this is similar to that of the method overloading, is not required. So I think you can explore on this. So it's similar to that of method overloading. Now it's time for this operator overloading. I'm not discussing on this constructor overloading because and this concept is similar to that of method overloading. Okay, just you have to declare multiple constructor with different parameters. So let's cut it short so you can explore on this. Okay, constructor overloading. And for your info, and I'm just going to tell you, if you want my note, you can just mail me. I've already shared my mail ID. Now the third one is operator overloading. Now Java do not support the operator overloading actually, but there is one operator overloading. It's the operator that supports the operator overloading. That is the plus sign. This is a simple concept. Maybe I think this is also important in the project level and all. This operator overloading. One operator with more than one behavior is called operator overloading. So just I'm showing here this operator overloading. So let's try to say that we have SOP, that is system.outprint, and you are trying to use this operator, this plus operator, 10 plus 20. So this does the addition. this plus operator does the addition operation. And here we have second statement, SOP statement, that is we are trying to use this plus operator to concatenate these strings. So this does the concatenation. So what you have seen here is that how it is doing overloading is that we have seen here that this plus sign has two behaviors. So that is, it is doing addition and then it is concatenating. This is multiple behaviors there. Okay, so that's why it is called operator overloading. So just I have example here. Just try to copy this and just try to. So class test public static void main method operator overloading in Java. Let's try to just see this. This does addition. What this does is concatenation. I hope the spelling is right. Concatenation. So this does the concatenation and this does the addition. Okay. So this is a plus sign is the operator overloading because this plus sign is having two behaviors. So in Java, only this plus sign is acting as operator overloading. So other operators. So last video, my friend has covered about the operators. So this what I'm trying to say is operator plus is operator. So let's try to execute. Java, we have main method is in the test class. So 50 touch string is being printed. So here it is doing addition and then here it is doing concatenation. So let's say we have something here. Let's say we have 10 and we are using 10 plus. Now let's see what's the output. So 10 touch string will be printed because why? Because this will be considered as a string and this will be also considered as a string. That's why it is doing concatenation because we have a string here. Because both of these are numbers, it will doing addition. So if we just modify this, if we give like if you say 10 plus, let's say 10 plus 10, 10 plus, let's say 30. So whole of this, hopefully whole of this will be considered as a string only. Yeah, so whole of these things will be considered a string. So I think that's all with this operator overloading. So two types of polymorphism: compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. Now compile time polymorphism is achieved by with the help of method overloading. Now it's time for method overriding, that is runtime polymorphism, which is achieved by method overriding. Now what is method overriding? Method overriding. Method overriding. The method overriding concept. This is the runtime polymorphism. Runtime polymorphism. Now, things that you have to remember when you're discussing about this polymorphism and this overriding concept is that to achieve the overloading, that is the one we have discussed in just before this, to achieve the method overloading concept, one class is enough. Okay, but to achieve the method overriding concept, two or more classes is being required. Okay, so if two or more class is required, then you have to always think that it is inheritance. So overriding concept is always with the inheritance. Okay. Inheritance means making the relationship between the parent and the child. So I've already developed regarding this inheritance. So if there is no relationship between the parent and the child, then child will not be able to use the parent's property. Since there is a relationship between the parent and the child, then only the child is able to enjoy and use the parent's property. So in order to make the relationship between the parent and the child, you have to use the extends keyword. So this is just for your information. So maybe I will just discuss with my note here. Now, before this example, so let me just, okay, before doing this example, I just wanted to real world implementation of this method overriding. So we are actually in the project level, this method overriding in the real world example. Since Java is object oriented, it always deals with the real world examples. Okay, so where we will use this method overriding is, let's say that uh, you have been graduated from a renowned college, then you are having a decent job, you are earning some money, and you are able to stand on your foot. Okay, so let's say this is a scenario. You are graduated, you have a job, and you are earning, and you are able to stand on your foot. Now, your parents, you have a parent, right? Every child will be having a parent. So your parents is thinking that you need to marry, and your parent is just finding one girl for you. Let's say this is a scenario. Your parents wants to marry, and your parents is finding one girl for you. So if you are a boy, then your parents definitely will look for a girl. Okay. So, but that girl is a bit ugly. Let's say you don't love that girl, and that's the parents' choice. Okay. So in this scenario, so you have your own choice. In your college, you might be having a beautiful girl that you love. Okay. Let's say this is a scenario, but your parents has already looked for one girl that is ugly, but you have already one beautiful girl, and you don't want your parents' choice is ugly. Uh, you don't want to marry with this ugly girl, and you are looking for this beautiful girl. So in that scenario, you have to override. So you have to cancel your parents' choice, and you have to override. So how you So this is the scenario that you will be using this overriding concept in Java. Okay. So here I have the example. So let's just copy paste this. So you won't be able to marry an ugly girl. So if you have already one beautiful girl, okay. So um, here I'm just I've already given the scenario, and now I'm implementing that scenario in the Java program here. So your parents, you have one functionality that is marry method. Your parent want you to marry, and this is the overridden method. So I've just let me just explain this overridden and overriding after this. So we have void marry. So this is your parents' choice. What your parents' choice is? Your parents have chosen one girl which is very ugly. You don't want to marry that girl. Okay, this is your parents' choice. But now you are a child. Child is extending the parent. Now you have your the functionality is same, that is marry. Now you have your own choice, and now you want to marry a beautiful girl. Now this is your parents' choice, and this is your choice. And now what you are doing here is that with this method overriding concept, you are trying to override your parents' choice with the help of your own choice. So this is the main method. You are calling the marry method. So it should not um, print this ugly method. It's not your choice. So you want to override this beautiful. So let's see whether we are able to output your own choice, this beautiful girl. So let's just save this. So compile successfully. maybe you, I mean, let's try to execute. We have discuss. Now we have child class. We have main method in the child class. You have to call this child class. So this is how you are overriding the parent. So if you are not overriding, then surely you have to make this ugly girl. Because of this overriding concept, you will be able to marry the beautiful girl. Now, for your information, uh, there is some rules and regulations to do this overriding concept. There are around 8 rules that you have to do, because we are already out of time. So maybe you can explore on these rules. The rules are very simple to understand. There are 8 rules you have to remember while remember in order to achieve the overriding concept. So it will not work. So even if you have a beautiful girl of your choice, and your parents, you have to listen to your parents. So therefore, it's not easy that you just override whatever you want. So you have to follow certain rules and regulations. You have to fulfill certain rules in order to get this beautiful girl. Okay, so that's why you have to know these rules. I think uh, that's all with the uh, that's all with the so this is the rules number. I just wanted to share this rule number one. Other rules you have, you can explore it. It's easy, it is to understand. Okay, so method signature, I've told you about the method signature and all. So the rule number one is method signature should be same. It is the method signature. This part is, I've told you, this part is the method signature. So other rules you can just explore. Okay, so I think that's all with today's lesson, and see you until next time. And before winding up, if you have any questions, you can just ask me personally in the chat, or you can ask right now here or in the YouTube. So I'm going to comment below your question. So that's all, and thank you for listening.